Gentlemen, let's talk frankly about something that has been quietly bothering so many men for years and years. I know this topic can feel a bit passe to discuss openly, but after more than 30 years as a urologist here in Singapore, I can tell you one thing for certain. This silent worry about size has been stealing the peace of mind from countless men, whether you are 25 or 75 years old. You see, no matter your age or how much experience you have, I understand that feeling, that nagging worry, that secret fear that maybe, just maybe, you are not measuring up to some unspoken standard. We have all been fed these myths, right? From movies, from the locker room at the swimming complex, from certain corners of the internet, all of them pushing this idea that bigger is always better. Wow, the pressure is real. It robs you of your peace of mind and honestly, your joy in intimate moments. But what if I told you that the truth, supported by solid, irrefutable science, is actually far more comforting, liberating, and affirming than you could ever imagine? What if the answer to how many centimeters women actually prefer is going to surprise you, dissolve your anxieties, and free you up to focus on what truly makes an intimate connection flourish? As a urologist who has dedicated over 3 decades to providing men with clear, honest medical truths, I am here to lay out the facts, cut through all the noise, and finally release you from this silent burden that so many of you have been carrying. Stay with me, because what you are about to discover could profoundly transform how you see yourself, boost your confidence, and revolutionize your intimate relationships starting from today. Welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Natalie Teo, and here our conversation is always straightforward and direct. My focus is on helping you live with robust health and unshakable confidence. Today, we are tackling a subject that touches the very heart of masculine self-esteem, penis size, and its perceived importance. For countless men, this is a source of silent anxiety, fueled by misinformation and unrealistic comparisons. But let me be clear, you are not alone in feeling this way. Throughout my 30+ years of practice at various hospitals and clinics across Singapore, from SGH to Mount Elizabeth, I have seen thousands of men carry the same worry. My goal today is to replace those anxious whispers with solid scientific facts, helping you feel truly secure in your own skin. Let us start by dismantling this pervasive myth that bigger is always better. Why is this a complete fabrication? This notion is not just widespread, it is almost a cultural pillar, often perpetuated by, let us say, a certain type of adult entertainment that is very far removed from reality. This narrative creates an impossible standard, making most men feel inadequate simply because it is based on fantasy, not on biology or authentic preferences. It is a myth, pure and simple, and it unfairly undermines your confidence, diverting your attention from what truly matters in intimacy. It is time to recognize this illusion for what it is and start freeing ourselves from its grip. Think about it for a moment. How has this bigger is better myth impacted you? Your confidence, perhaps even your intimate moments. What feelings does it stir up? Many of my patients here in Singapore, when they first come to see me, they feel so relieved just to talk about it. One uncle, Mr. Tan, he is 72 years old, came to my clinic at Gleneagles last year. He told me he had been worrying about this since his national service days in the 1970s. Can you imagine? More than 50 years of unnecessary worry. Now let us dive into what the science actually reveals about female preferences regarding size. We cannot simply rely on surveys because self-reported preferences can be biased. Instead, we turn to actual behaviors. One of the most fascinating and reliable sources of information comes from an unexpected place, real sales data from sex toys, particularly dildos. When women purchase these products for their own pleasure, they are essentially voting with their wallet for what they genuinely find pleasurable and comfortable. This data cuts through all the bravado and media hype, giving us a remarkably clear picture of authentic preferences. No need to feel passe about this. It is science, and science does not lie. So what do these sales figures consistently show? They paint a remarkably consistent picture that directly contradicts the bigger is better myth. Research analyzing this data systematically reveals that the vast majority of women prefer medium-sized dildos, both in length and circumference. For example, the most popular lengths typically fall within the range of 12.5 to 16.5 centimeters when erect. and the circumferences are generally around 11.5 to 12.5 centimeters. Now, I want to be very precise here because accuracy matters. When we talk about circumference, we mean the measurement around the shaft, not the diameter across. Some people get confused between diameter and circumference. The diameter would only be about 4 to 5 centimeters, much smaller number, but that is because it is measuring across, not around. This aligns almost perfectly with the medically established average size of the human penis when erect, generally considered to be between 13 and 14 centimeters in length and 11.5 to 12.5 centimeters in circumference. This is not a coincidence, my friends. It is powerful evidence that what is anatomically average is actually what is most commonly desired and found pleasurable by women. It is also crucial to remember that the vaginal canal is highly flexible and most sensation is concentrated in the outer third. Extreme size is not necessary for stimulation and frankly can often be uncomfortable or even painful. I have had patients come to me, yes, men who are on the larger side, telling me their partners actually find intimacy difficult or painful. One gentleman, Mr. Wong, he is in his 60s, told me his wife had been experiencing discomfort for years and they had to learn specific techniques and positions to make things work. So you see, bigger is not always better. Sometimes it creates problems you never expected. The data confirms without any doubt that average is indeed the sweet spot for pleasure and comfort. This brings us to a crucial and liberating truth. The vast majority of men who naturally fall within the average range are perfectly capable of providing deep satisfaction to their partners. This means that the anxious questions many men silently carry are often entirely unfounded. Your size, if it falls within the average range, is very likely exactly what your partner desires and finds comfortable. Let that sink in, okay? This should be a huge weight off your shoulders. This means you can finally let go of those unrealistic comparisons and focus on what truly matters in intimate relationships. And what are those things? Let me share with you what I call the 3 pillars of intimate connection. If physical size is not the ultimate factor, what truly creates that deep and fulfilling sexual connection? The answer lies in qualities that are far more impactful, entirely within your control, and that genuinely build lasting intimacy. First, confidence is magnetic. Confidence is a man who is comfortable and secure in his own skin, who projects assurance regardless of his size, radiates an incredibly attractive sexual energy. I always tell my patients, confidence is the best aphrodisiac, better than any pill or supplement you can buy at Guardian or Watson's. Second, communication is paramount. Openly discussing desires, preferences, and comfort levels with your partner ensures that you are both on the same wavelength and experiencing maximum pleasure. This includes asking, listening, and knowing where and how to stimulate the clitoris, which is, by the way, the primary source of female orgasm. Many men do not realize this. Studies show that most women do not achieve orgasm through penetration alone. So regardless of your size, your technique, your attentiveness, your willingness to learn and communicate, these matter far more. Third, and perhaps most importantly, emotional intimacy and attention are the true keys. Being present, attentive, truly listening to your partner's needs, focusing on their pleasure, and building a deep emotional bond creates a connection that transcends physical dimensions. In Singapore, we sometimes focus so much on work, on providing for the family, on being the breadwinner, that we forget to nurture this emotional connection. But trust me, after 30 years of talking to couples about their intimate lives, I can tell you, emotional intimacy is everything. Let me share a story from my practice that illustrates this beautifully. I remember Mr. Lim, a retired engineer in his late 60s from Toa Payoh. Brilliant man, spent his career building Singapore's infrastructure. Despite his successful career and loving marriage of over 40 years, he carried this silent weight, this constant worry that he was not enough for his wife, all because of the pervasive myths about size that he had absorbed over the decades. When he came to see me at my clinic, visibly anxious, I did not simply give him advice. I showed him the scientific data, the precise graphs from studies on sex toy sales, explaining exactly how average size is often ideal for comfort and pleasure. As I spoke, I observed a visible wave of release wash over him. His shoulders relaxed and a genuine smile spread across his face. "Dr. Teo," he said, his voice lighter than I had ever heard it, "you have just lifted a burden I have been carrying since I was a young man doing NS. This makes so much sense. All that worry for absolutely nothing. I can finally just be present and enjoy with my wife." A few months later, Mr. Lim came back for a routine checkup. He told me his intimate life with his wife had improved dramatically. Not because anything physical had changed, but because his mindset had changed. He was more relaxed, more present, more confident, and his wife noticed the difference immediately. This story illustrates beautifully how the truth can be liberating, allowing men to shift their focus from imagined inadequacy to the real strengths of their intimate connection. unwavering confidence, sincere communication, and authentic attention. Now, I want to address something that some of you might be thinking about. What about the opposite situation? What if you are on the larger side and it is actually causing problems? This is something that does not get talked about enough. I have had patients tell me that their size has caused pain and discomfort for their partners. One man, a businessman in his 50s, told me his partner's gynecologist had advised them that he should not fully penetrate. Can you imagine how frustrating that must be? Here he was, supposedly having what many men think they want, and it was actually causing problems in his relationship. For men in this situation, the solution is the same: communication, technique, and patience. Using adequate lubrication, trying different positions, and focusing on foreplay and other forms of stimulation can make a huge difference. The point is, whether you are average, smaller, or larger, the key to a fulfilling intimate life is the same. It is not about the numbers, it is about the connection. Let me also address something that came up recently. Some people ask me about whether women are more clitoral or vaginal in terms of how they experience pleasure. This is actually a really important topic that deserves more attention. Research shows that the vast majority of women require clitoral stimulation to achieve orgasm. The vagina itself has fewer nerve endings compared to the clitoris. This means that regardless of penis size, understanding and prioritizing clitoral stimulation is often far more important for your partner's pleasure. So gentlemen, if you take nothing else away from this video, remember this: your hands, your mouth, your attention, your willingness to learn what your partner enjoys. These are your most powerful tools, not your size. I also want to speak directly to those of you who are in your 60s, 70s, or even older. Age brings changes to our bodies, and that is completely natural. You might notice that erections are not as firm as they used to be, or that you need more stimulation to get aroused. This is normal. It does not mean you are inadequate or that your intimate life is over. In fact, many couples find that intimacy becomes richer and more satisfying as they age. Why? Because you have more experience. You know each other better. You have learned to communicate. You are less rushed, less focused on performance, and more focused on connection. Some of my happiest patients are couples in their 70s and 80s who tell me their intimate life is better than it was when they were young. One auntie, Mrs. Chen, she is 75, came with her husband to discuss some health issues. She told me, laughing, that her husband was more attentive and romantic now than when they first got married 50 years ago. Last time he only know how to work and work, she said. Now he retired, got time, and we enjoy each other more. Her husband looked a bit shy, but he was smiling. That is what intimacy looks like when you focus on connection rather than performance metrics. Your journey towards true intimate confidence and fulfilling relationships begins now by embracing the scientific truth and letting go of these outdated and harmful myths. Do not let society's unrealistic expectations or your own silent anxieties prevent you from fully enjoying your intimate life. Take action today. Be courageous. Educate yourself. Build your confidence, and above all, foster open and loving communication with your partner. Your sexual health, your confidence, and ultimately your vibrant quality of life are absolutely worth this vital step of embracing reality and celebrating yourself. For those of you who are still feeling uncertain, let me give you some practical advice. First, if you have genuine concerns about your health, whether it is erectile function, prostate health, or anything else, please see a doctor. Here in Singapore, we have excellent healthcare. Do not let embarrassment stop you from getting the care you need. Second, talk to your partner. I know this can feel awkward, especially for those of us from older generations where such things were not discussed openly. But trust me, your partner probably wants to talk about it too. Many women wish their partners would ask what they enjoy, what feels good, what they can do differently. This kind of communication can transform your intimate life. Third, let go of comparison. Stop comparing yourself to what you see in movies or online. Those are not realistic representations. They are designed to entertain, not to educate. The real world is different, and in the real world, average is not just okay, it is ideal. Fourth, focus on overall health. Your intimate health is connected to your overall health. Exercise regularly, eat well, manage your stress, get enough sleep. These things affect your energy levels, your mood, your circulation, and yes, your intimate performance. Many of my patients find that simply improving their lifestyle makes a significant difference. Fifth, be patient with yourself. Change takes time. If you have been carrying these anxieties for decades, you will not let them go overnight. But every small step counts. Every time you choose confidence over worry, every time you communicate with your partner, every time you focus on connection rather than comparison, you are making progress. If this video has brought you hope, deep clarity, or simply made you feel more at ease, please share it with any man who might need to hear this message. Your friends, your family, anyone who might be silently struggling with anxieties about size or seeking to improve their intimate confidence. We are building a strong and supportive community here. Leave a comment below. What myths about male sexual health have you believed? What other aspects of male intimate well-being would you like us to explore? I read every comment, and your questions often inspire my future videos. Before I go, let me remind you of the key takeaways from today. 1. The bigger is better myth is exactly that. A myth not supported by science or real-world preferences. 2. Average size is ideal for most women, according to actual purchasing behavior data. 3. Confidence, communication, and emotional intimacy are far more important than physical dimensions. 4. Men of all sizes can have fulfilling intimate lives when they focus on connection and technique. 5. Age does not diminish your capacity for intimacy. It can actually enhance it. Thank you for watching, for trusting me with this sensitive topic, and for being part of this community. Remember, taking care of your health, including your intimate health, is not something to be embarrassed about. It is one of the most important things you can do for yourself and your relationships. This is Dr. Natalie Teo, your trusted urologist, reminding you that true confidence comes from knowledge and true intimacy comes from connection. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.